Never doubted them. I never doubted this team one bit. Guess who's back? The Phillies are back. Again. I feel like I've said that a lot of times over the past couple of weeks. But hey, not going to do any of that, being a jerk off today. I'm going to be a jerk off a little bit because the Phillies won a series against one of the better teams in the American League, probably the best team in the American League currently in the Baltimore Orioles. They find a way to win a series, and the bottom of their lineup comes up big again. Jake Cave honestly had an amazing game, had a couple of hits, had an RBI hit as well, and he made a fantastic grab over there in left field with a runner on base for the Orioles. Honestly, if that ball gets down, it would be a 3-3 game at that point. And hey, who knows? Who knows what would have happened? Honestly, you could say that, Jake Cave play saved the game in the most points of this part of the game. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic play by Jake Cave. It was absolutely fantastic. I excuse myself there. Jesus, I don't know why I have to start sneezing. I don't know why the allergies have to start hitting me as soon as the video starts. I apologize for that, everyone. But, hey, we got to roll with the punches. Sometimes that happens when you're doing live streams, You got to roll with it. So we're going to roll with it. And the Phillies, they're going to continue to roll with it as well. Because they got themselves a nice 2 wins so far. Nice bounce back from losing the series against Cleveland. You come back in Philadelphia. You drop a first game, which you were in it the entire time. Yesterday, it was a battle, but you found a way to win in extras thanks to Alec Bowman, Bryson Stott, and Bryce Harper. And then today, your bottom of the lineup came up very clutch. Emundo Sosa with a huge go-ahead home run in this game. Getting some extra insurance runs as well, which are very huge. Bryce Harper getting that other RBI. And, Rob Thompson with some smart decisions with the bullpen going into the top of the 8th inning against the middle of their order. The Orioles, that is, the heart of the order, the 3, 4, 5 spot. You're bringing in Craig Kimbrell to face that heart of the order. And Craig Kimbrell just came out and just like, screw this shit. I'm getting this done and over with. My guy literally went out there and mowed people down. It was flat out dominant in that 8th inning. And then Gregory Soto has the fastest 9th inning that I've ever seen him pitch in my life. It was fantastic. So Rob Thompson making some very smart decisions out of the bullpen today. Very smart. And hey, also benching Trey Turner today came up huge because, like I said, Emundo Sosa with the huge go-ahead home run later in this ball game to put the Phillies on top 5-4. So that was huge. Rob Thompson taking a little bit of initiative yesterday. For yesterday's game, he asked if Trey Turner wanted a day off. Trey Turner said no. Rob Thompson turned around for today and said, Trey, you're getting a day off regardless. You're getting off your feet. We're putting Gus in there to take the spot. That's what I call Emundo Sosa. I call him Gus. My entire group chat actually calls him Gus too, so we just ride with the nickname. So he's Gus Sosa. Gus Sosa helps the Phillies out, and it gives them a lead. So that's help. That's major help there. And hey, putting Bryce Harper at first base for the 2nd game in a row, took Kyle Schwarber out of left, put him in the DH spot, and, Kyle Schwarber probably doesn't make that play that Jake Cave did. Most likely. So you're reaping the benefits of those decisions, Rob. You reap the benefits from those good decisions that you made today. And I'll give you credit for that. I was not a big fan of a lot of the decisions that you made early on in this series. But hey, you stood out for it, and it worked well. Probably the only decision that I would say, backfired on you was taking Ranger Suarez out in that 7th inning. He brought in Seranthony Dominguez, and he allows the 2-out RBI. After, Ranger allows the leadoff double, Seranthony comes in, gets the next 2 outs, and then he allows that 2-out hit, which ties the ball game up. And then Seranthony manages to get out of it. I thought Seranthony looked pretty solid in his first game back from the IL stint. It was just unfortunate that, he allowed that 2-out hit. And for Ranger Suarez as well today, we saw the good and the bad of Ranger. We definitely did. First 2 innings, he allows a couple of base runners, leadoff base runners, and then he manages to get a couple of double plays in both of those innings to retire the side there. But then he has a little bit of trouble in the second. Allows a couple of base runners, gets the 2 outs, fighting it with Adley Rutschman, gets into a full count, and he throws probably the most hittable pitch in the world, hanging pitch there, and Adley Rutschman crushes it, puts the Orioles up 3-0 there. So that was probably the worst mistake from Ranger. Ranger really did settle down after that. So that definitely, was probably the good sign. Maybe we'll, get a little bit of help there. Maybe Ranger bounces back. He builds off of this start saying, okay, I might have given up the home run, but I thought overall I had a pretty solid start there. I settled in and kept the team involved in the game. They scored some runs for me. So got to roll with those punches. I'll bounce back for next start. And his next start is going to be in the month of August. So with the way that Ranger has been pitching this year, it's been one really bad month, one fantastic month, and then another really bad month. So is his month of August going to be flat out fantastic? That's what I'm expecting at this point, because that's the way the patterns are going. But the reason why Ranger has been struggling so much, it's because he can't locate his changeup. His changeup is his best pitch. And when he's finding ways to command that changeup, and when he's getting people to swing and miss at that, that's when Ranger is on his game. And also, yeah, the command of the fastball is always going to be there for Ranger Suarez as well. He needs to find a way that perfectly pinpoint that accuracy with the fastball, finding ways to hit the corners of the strike zone. But it really matters if Ranger Suarez has that changeup. If he doesn't have that changeup, it's not going to be a good day for him. Like I said, you saw the good and bad of Ranger today. When he was good, the changeup was there, the fastball command was there, and when, he gives up the home run, they're Adley Rutschman, he leaves the pitch hanging. So, good and the bad of Ranger today. Good and the bad. But what more can you say about this bottom part of the lineup? Especially in this series, if you're just looking at everything there. JT comes up with a huge 2-run double, after Baltimore takes the lead. Jake Cave also gets an RBI hit. If you're just looking throughout this game, and just the way that it played out, top of the third inning, like I said, Rutschman goes deep, makes it a 3-0 game, but then you go into that bottom of the third inning, Marsh leads off with a walk, Jake Cave with a double that scores Marsh, and also freaking umpires today. The umpires were flat out dreadful. Specifically the home plate umpire. There were so many pitches. Like, if you're going to this bottom of the third inning specifically. So Jake Cave gets the double, Emundo Sosa walks for once, so that was shocking. But then Kyle Schwarber kind of got screwed over on a couple of pitches in the strike zone during this at-bat. There were kind of pitches that were outside the zone that should have been called strikes. There was a pitch right at his elbows that was called strike 3. It shouldn't have been, he shouldn't have struck out, and he probably should have walked. And that would have been bases loaded for Nick Castellanos as he singles up the middle, and he makes it a 3-2 game for Baltimore. In that instance, if Kyle Schwarber walks, bases loaded, Nick Castellanos gets that single, it's a tied ball game. So, umpire kind of factoring into the decisions right there, but Bryce Harper does ground out into a double play to end off that inning. Bottom of the fourth, Bohm and Stott, they get singles to lead off the inning. Bryson Stott kind of with, a lucky single, hits it into the perfect spot of the outfield where no one's at. And then here comes JT Realmuto to crush a double into the gap. Gives the Phillies the 4-3 lead. Sadly, he gets on a ground out, I believe, by Brandon Marsh. He gets thrown at third base. It wasn't a bad decision by JT. The ball was to the left of him. It was just a good play by Mateo at shortstop. If the ball's hit in front of you, you don't run to third base, but the ball was hit behind JT. And understandably, if the ball's hit behind you, you're going to run in that instance on contact. But it was just a good play by the Baltimore shortstop, and nothing else resulted in that inning. Ranger Suarez comes back out for the 7th inning of work, allows the leadoff double. Sir Anthony comes in, then he allows the game to get tied with 2 outs. And then you go to that bottom of the 7th inning, where the last runs of the game happen, where the Phillies take the lead. Emundo Sosa, this is all with 2 outs, by the way. Emundo Sosa, after barely just missing a home run on a foul ball, the very next pitch on the 0-2 count, crushes the ball the other way, goes over the fence. Phillies take the lead. Sosa with a clutch home run. Then Schwarber gets walked. This is when the Orioles decide to bring the bullpen in. Schwarber walks, Castellanos gets hit by a pitch, and then Bryce Harper with a single up the middle gives the Phillies a 2-run lead, a nice little cushion, and that's basically all the bullpen needed from there. Craig Kimbrell in that top of the 8th inning was flat out dominant, struck out 2 people, 1-2-3 inning, and then Gregory Soto gets the 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 9th for the save. Phillies get the win there. Looking at the pitching entirely, Rangers Suarez 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs allowed, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 1 home run on 90 pitches. Like I said, you saw the really good and the really bad from Ranger today. It was a bit of a mixed bunch there. Serafini Dominguez allowed a hit, struck out 2 on 16 pitches. Craig Kimbrell, 2 strikeouts on 12 pitches. And then Gregory Soto, 9 pitches, 1 strikeout to end off the ball game. So, pitching overall, your bullpen came in the back end and did the job. They basically did the job. That's all you can ask for them. Looking at the lineup today, Kyle Schwarber was 0 for 3 with a walk, so another hitless day for him. He's definitely really in a rut right now. Nick Castellanos, he was 1 for 3 with an RBI. Bryce Harper 1 for 4 with an RBI. Alec Boehm 1 for 4. Bryson Stott 1 for 4. JT 1 for 4 with 2 RBI. Brandon Marsh 1 for 3 with a walk. Jake Cave 2 for 4 with an RBI. And Emundo Sosa 1 for 2 with a solo shot. He also had a walk in today's game. Phillies went 4 for 9 with runners in scoring position. And hey, they got themselves a nice series win. They also, the Marlins did beat the Tampa Bay Rays today, so Phillies didn't lose any ground. They didn't get any ground. They basically got the same amount of ground that they earned from yesterday. They're still a half game up on the Marlins in terms of the wild card standings. They're actually a 3-way tie for the first wild card spot with the Giants and the Reds, because I believe the Reds, if I'm not mistaken, they lost again to the Brewers. Yes, they did. They got shut out by the Brewers, and the Diamondbacks lost, so the Diamondbacks fall out of the wild card race. And the Giants, they're playing Oakland later on, so they have not started yet. They won yesterday, so you really didn't gain any ground on them. But still, it's a 3-way tie for that first wild card spot. If San Francisco was to beat Oakland tonight, which they most likely will because Oakland sucks, you would be in the second wild card spot, tied that with the Reds. So, still, you're in a wild card position. You're in a playoff position. Keep finding ways to win. And you got a weekend series this upcoming Friday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. If we look at the Pittsburgh Pirates, they started off the season really hot, but they've really came back down to earth ever since. They are 45-57, 12 games below 500. And yeah, there's not much else to say. The Pittsburgh Pirates are not a good team. They have some young talent on their roster, but they're pitching-wise, they're not there yet. Like I said, they got some nice talent, but they got to take 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh. They definitely got to do that, especially with this stretch upcoming. With Pittsburgh, Miami, Kansas City, Washington, you're playing a bunch of not good teams next. A bunch of not good teams. Like I said, if you're looking at this upcoming schedule, Pittsburgh, these 3 games, then you got 4 games in Miami during the trade deadline. So I'm assuming Dave Dombrowski, you got the off day tomorrow, so I wonder if Dave Dombrowski pulls a trigger and maybe makes a trade tomorrow, so that's definitely something to look out for there. But who knows what's going to happen. If you saw the Dodgers and the Guardians, they made a trade with Ahmed Rosario and Noah Syndergaard. So Syndergaard's going to the Guardians, or Rosario's going to the Dodgers. So I guess you could call that one of the first quote-unquote big trades at the deadline, even though it's not really that big. This trade deadline is definitely going to be weird because a lot of the, reports are saying that this trade deadline is really going to be gauged by what the hell happens with Shohei Ohtani. And the latest report we've seen about Ohtani is that the Angels are not putting him on the trade market as of now because, currently for the Angels, I believe they're, 3 games out of a wild card spot in the American League? Yeah, they're 4 games out of that last wild card spot. They're 52-49. So I wouldn't be shocked if they don't trade Shohei, but I'm not sure because, yeah, you want to make that playoff push with Shohei, but it's also not guaranteed that he stays with you. So they're in a pickle right now. They're in a major pickle. I'm not. I at this point, I highly doubt they're going to trade Ohtani. I just don't see it happening at this point. So we just got to wait and see what happens because that's what a lot of the market was gauging over towards what was happening with Shohei. So it's just a wait and see process. But I don't think at this point the Phillies are going after anything major. Bryce Harper's your first baseman. You got to get someone to maintain that spot in the outfield. Now that Schwarber's going to be your full-time DH. The last thing I saw was a rumor about Randall Grichuk from the Colorado Rockies. I wouldn't mind that pickup at all. You know, I believe he's played 60 games this year. His numbers are pretty solid, both away from Coors and at Coors. He's got more home runs away from Coors, actually. Let me look up Randall Grichuk's numbers just so I can tell you guys about that. So, Grichuk, he is 31 years old. This year so far with Colorado, he's batting .313 with a .370 on-base percentage, a .487 slugging, and an .857 OPS and a .120 OPS plus. So far, that's only a 68-game sample size. He hasn't played that much this year, but it'll be a solid pickup. He can go out there and play the outfield, so I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. Looking at his numbers split-wise for, let's see, if I look at his splits for home and road, they're actually not that much different if you look at his home and road splits. His home stats at Coors, he's batting .337 with a .395 on base, .519 slugging, and a .914 OPS. On the road, he's batting .292 with a .349 on base percentage, a .458 slugging, and an .807 OPS, which is expected. You're always going to have better numbers at Coors than away from it, but his numbers away from Coors aren't that bad. He has more RBI and more home runs away from Coors, though, so that's something to point out there. He's played more games away from Coors, too. He's played a couple of more games away. But still, it would be, a nice pickup to have for the trade deadline. If you look at, against righties and lefties, it doesn't really matter in that instance. He's good against both righty and left-handed pitching. So, it's a right-handed bat. I wouldn't mind it at all. Be a nice, deft pickup. He would probably be the main starter out there in left field. So I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. But in terms of, the way this trade deadline's going to go, I just don't see any major trades happening for the Phillies just because of the way this market's going to be. I feel like this market's going to be way overpriced for a lot of players. We saw what the Braves gave up for a guy that has a 6 ERA. They give up 2 prospects for it. So that definitely set the market there. Imagine if you're trying to go after a guy like Dylan Cease from Chicago or Lance Lynn from Chicago. Even though he's having a terrible season, I doubt, he won't go for cheap at this point. I wouldn't doubt that. So, and who knows if the, Chicago Cubs, if they're even going to be selling. Because if you look at the Chicago Cubs, they're 49-51. They're 2 games below 500. And in terms of them for the NL Central, they're 6.5 games back. So technically, they could sell. They could do a buy and sell type of thing. They've won 4 in a row. I'm not sure. I can't gauge the market at this point because you don't know what teams are selling. You don't know what teams are staying put. And you don't know at this point because, with that third wildcard spot, some teams that normally aren't there probably think they can compete for the third wildcard spot just because they're that closer to it. I don't know. I couldn't gauge that at all. So it's just basically a wait-and-see process. Do I expect Dave Dombrowski to make a trade tomorrow? Maybe. Maybe since it's an off day. And then you have that guy to get acclimated with the team before you go to Pittsburgh. I don't know. Because you don't have any off days from Friday through the trade deadline. Because you play that weekend series in Pittsburgh. And then you play that 4-game series with the Miami Marlins. So there's no off day really in between that. So it's definitely something that you're going to have to think about there. So it's just going to be a wait-and-see type of thing. So, yeah. Who knows at this point? But yeah, if you're looking at, like I said, continuing with the schedule, 3 with Pittsburgh, 4 with Miami, 3 with Kansas City at home, and 4 against Washington at home. You got to find a way to take advantage of the schedule. I know we struggled against the Marlins this year, but you got to find a way to take advantage of them because they're definitely not playing the way that they have been in the first half. They've been losing a lot in the second half, so you've got to find a way to take advantage of a struggling team. I don't care if they have your number this year. Got to find a way to beat them. And if you're looking at the pitching matchups for this series in Pittsburgh, it's Zack Wheeler up against Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller is 9-6 with a 4.01 ERA. He's gotten roughed up since the All-Star break. I'll say that. 8 runs against Cleveland and 6 runs against the Angels. So knowing that he'll throw 7 scoreless against the Phillies, but I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to be negative. Phillies, you see a struggling pitcher coming into the game. Got to find a way to take advantage of it. Aaron Nola is going to be on Saturday against Quinn Priester. He is 1-1 with a 9.28 ERA. It looks like he just got called up for Pittsburgh. He has not been good. He has not been good. So, got to be able to take advantage of it. And then you're going to have Christopher Sanchez going up against Dick Mountain or Rich Hill. 7-10 with a 4.82 ERA. You should be able to hit against a 43-year-old Rich Hill. Dick Mountain, as I like to call him. Should be able to take advantage of that. Should be able to. Then you got the Miami series, Ranger Suarez, Taijuan Walker, Zack Wheeler, Aaron Nola. You're going to have your top 4 pitchers in that series against Miami. Going to have your top 4 there. Got to take advantage. Got to find a way to take advantage. Walker's going to go up against Edward Cabrera. Ranger Suarez is going up against Sandy Alcantara. Zack Wheeler is going up against Braxton Garrett. And Aaron Nola is going up against Johnny Cueto. Got to take advantage. Got to take advantage. And you're not going to be having any off days between Miami and Washington, and honestly Minnesota too. That's going to be a long. No, from Friday, you don't have an off day from Friday, July 28th. You play from the 28th to August 13th straight. No off days in between those. This is your last off day until August 14th. So, got to play some good baseball during the stretch, especially against teams that are not good. Like Pittsburgh, like Kansas City, like Washington. You should be able to take advantage of a Minnesota Twins team because they're not that good. They play in the AL Central, even though we struggled against the Guardians. But still, should be able to. And you got to find a way to beat the Marlins because that can give you some nice separation in the wild card standings. And just looking at this schedule, even after that, after you play Minnesota, August 15th and the 16th, you play in Toronto. Then you play the Nationals again. Then you play the Giants, the Cardinals, the Angels at home. Then you go on the road to play the Brewers and the Padres. Then you play against the NL East for a big stretch at the end of the year. So that's going to be huge. Starting in September, all but 2 series are against the NL East. Miami, 4 games against Atlanta, 3 games in St. Louis, 3 games in Atlanta, then 4 games at home against Pittsburgh, 4 at home against the Mets, not Pittsburgh, 3 at home against Pittsburgh. I mixed up those series. And then you close out the season, 3 games against the Mets on the road. So yeah, got to take advantage of the schedule that's upcoming. It can give you some nice separation, some very nice separation in the wild card standings. Got to take advantage of it. No ifs, ands, or buts. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just looking around the league right now, not much else is going on. I don't think I've seen anything else in regards to trades. I don't think that's going to happen. But who knows? Who knows? We'll just see what happens when the trades happen. Don't know what the Phillies are going to do. I don't know what Dave Dombrowski is going to do. I expect them to go after a right-handed bat in the outfield. Maybe they go after some depth for the bullpen and something to spruce up the bench. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting any gigantic splashes at this point because I just believe the market's way too expensive this year. And a lot of teams don't know what they're gauging. So we're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see. I see you guys here on the comments section. I'll talk to you here. We don't have any voicemails here on the Anytime Hotline, so we won't have anything there. But, I'll get to you guys here before we close it off. And actually, before we get to the live chat, I do have to thank you, everyone. We did surpass 800 subscribers last night, so I really appreciate that. It's on our next journey now to get to 900 subs, to get to 1,000 subs. Big milestone, 800 subs. Feels good. I appreciate everyone here that joins the live streams, that checks in on the videos, that drops a like, leaves comments and everything like that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Always a fun time talking to you guys and just looking to continue forward at this point. I appreciate everything here. I appreciate all the support. So, getting you guys in the comment section. But hey, we did some good here. We did some good. How you doing, David? How you doing, Scott? Yeah, just basically a bunch of positivity with the Phillies. Smart move by Rob Thompson. Seeing what positivity does from David. Talking about the bottom of the lineup. Yeah. There is the proof. Leave Harper at first base and Kyle Schwarber at DH. He probably would not have made that catch exactly. Trey Turner needed this day off. Thank you, Scott, for the congrats. With how bad the Pirates' pitching has been, this should be a make for a 3-game sweep for the Phillies. I'm just saying win the series. I'm saying win the series. That's all I'm going to say at this point. That's all I'm going to say. I feel another sneeze coming on. I'm going to have to end the stream soon because I keep sneezing and I can just feel it. I gotta blow my nose. Ay. I want Shohei Ohtani, but I would settle for Bellinger or Arenado. I don't even know if we're going to get any of those guys, David. I just don't know what the market is. I can't gauge it. I can't gauge it at all. Brandish dude had no control today. Oh, yeah. For the first couple of innings, he was actually pretty solid, but then all of a sudden, he just lost the strike zone. I have no idea what happened there. Yeah, bottom part of the lineup has been playing very well. Let's get that 1,000 subs and hoagies, baby. Thank you, Model Petition for Alvarado. I always appreciate you. Thank you for the bless you, David. I appreciate that. I can't stop sneezing. It's just like, seriously, of course, when I want to start the stream, that's when the allergies kick in. That's when I do it. Now I feel congested, and I gotta blow my nose eventually. It's been a weird day. It's been a very weird day. Nice to see the Phillies get a win, but I'm also kind of ticked off. This has nothing to do with the Phillies at this point, because we ordered Wawa for dinner today, and they forgot my fucking smoothie. I always get a nice mango banana smoothie every time I go to Wawa, and they fucking forgot it. I'm like, fucking hell. I was looking forward to that smoothie. Now I'm going to stick with the H2O. Even though H2O is a very solid beverage, I wanted my smoothie. I was really looking forward to it. Man. I really wanted that smoothie. Now I'm just thinking about it. I hate it. I hate it. Well, I think that's going to do it for today, everybody. I appreciate everyone for joining the streams as always, so don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to see those. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Don't forget to check out everything in the description down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Once again, I thank everyone for surpassing 800 subscribers. I appreciate that. Now let's start the journey to get the 900, and then we're getting closer and closer to 1,000. So don't forget to hit that. Don't forget to use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Great deal. Don't pass it up.